Hello!
Hello AOS fans!
It's the Agents of Embergard.
And in this video we're going to tell you all about Ephilim's
Pandaemonium. Ephilim's Pandaemonium are one of GW's mastery warbands.
Oh, which means they're quite hard to play.
Yes, I don't think it means necessarily they pair well with mastery decks. It just means they've got shenanigans going on.
Shenanigans, which anybody familiar from the old game will know they definitely had shenanigans.
They did.
So tell me what their special rules are, Pete.
Well, one of the first ones is their glorious change ability, which affects how they behave at the start of rounds. After the first action in each round, you can pick one of your fighters and inspire them. And then you have to pick another fighter and stagger them.
Boo.
Talking about inspiration mechanics, that's pretty much the only way you can inspire them. When you have two of your minions inspired, then so can Ephilim inspire. But other than that, you just inspire them by that ability.
So does Ephilim inspire as soon as you've got two inspired?
Yep.
He does indeed, okay.
They also have another little ongoing ability, which is if a minion is killed near your leader within 2 hexes, you can draw a power card. Ooh, it's quite handy. They've got some quite flavourful abilities that harken back to the olden days, and one of those abilities they can use at the end of each round. After your last action in each round, you can bring back one of your slain demons.
Wow, at the end of each round.
Yeah, you even actually do it after your last action step, in fact, which means that your opponent might still have another turn to go afterwards to maybe knock them on the head again. Right. But otherwise, you just pick one of those fighters and you can then place them on a starting hex in your territory and inflict damage on them until they're vulnerable. So they are vulnerable, but they're also worth no bounty.
Interesting, and that would mean if your opponent was playing Strike and had cards to take out a certain number of fighters, you would really be messing that up because you'd keep bringing them back.
Exactly, or if they need everybody in a half to have charge tokens or something, you suddenly raise them and they've got no tokens, it can really stuff that up. They also have the Fires of Change ability, which you use immediately after a friendly fighter's successful range attack. You can then give every enemy fighter adjacent to the target a warping token. So you don't give it to the target, you give it to everyone adjacent, and basically after your opponent's first action in the next round, you remove all those tokens from those fighters, and after a token is removed in that way, you inflict 1 damage on that fighter. You can only use that once per game.
Quite potent though.
Could be really nasty with lots of people gathered up together and suddenly blam, you're going to know you're going to do a damage to all of them at the beginning of the next round. It's pretty nasty.
Yeah, and does that damage go through to vulnerable fighters?
Yep.
So it's just basically anybody.
Yeah, so if you know a load of people have got tokens on them, you don't have to waste too much effort killing them, you can just get them down to the vulnerable and then they're just going to die off at the beginning of the next round.
Ouch. And
the last one they've got is Shared Mutation, which you can choose after any of your action steps, and you can inflict 1 damage on each enemy fighter adjacent to a friendly minion.
Wow, so they have quite a lot of ping.
They've got a lot of ping because that's any friendly fighter. So obviously if there's 4 of your minions standing next to 4 separate fighters on the other side, or maybe even more if there's multiples, then you could be doing lots of damage there.
So if any of your minions are standing adjacent to any fighters, then they can take damage?
Yep.
Wow, that is pretty strong.
Yeah, and you can use that immediately after your action step. So you could, in a previous round, push a load of people forwards, and then on your next go, charge up, blast somebody and use your Fires of Change, then you could use that. That could be a lot of ping damage bouncing around.
Ping, 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 ping! Let's have a look at the fighters. It sounds like they need to be really rubbish.
They're not great in comparison to how they used to be. Bounty across all of them is either 1 or 2. Your big man Ephilim has 2 bounty on. Most of the demons have 1, except for Spawnmore, who's a little bit chompier than the rest, and he's worth 2 bounty. Movement-wise, they're all mostly moves 3, except for Spawnmore again, who moves 4, and they're all 1 dodge, except for Ephilim and Kindlefinger, who both are 2 dodge. Most fighters are 3 wounds, except for Kindlefinger, who is 2, and Ephilim, which is 4. So there's a lot of random numbers going on here, but they're all fairly basic. Ephilim themselves, he's got a range 1, 2 hammer 2 damage attack, and a range 3, 2 hammer 1 damage attack. So he's not actually that great on range attacks anymore. He used to be a lot more scary.
So when he inspires, his melee attack doesn't change, but his range attack goes up to 3 hammers, but it's still only 1 damage.
Spawnmore's attacks are a range 1, 2 hammer 2 damage attack, and another range 3, 2 sword 1 damage attack. They pretty much all have range attacks apart from 1. When he inspires, his range 1 attack gains ensnare, his range 2 attack gains an extra sword, and he gains 1 extra dodge. So a little bit better, but nothing fantastic.
Kindlefinger, who is the weakest of the fighters, his range 1 attack is only 1 hammer.
Yeah.
It does do 2 damage, and his range attack, which is at range 3, is a 2 hammer attack for 1 damage, and when he inspires, he doesn't get any extra dodge because he's already on 2 dodge. He basically goes up to 2 swords, 2 damage, and his range of his range attack increases to 4, but the actual rest of the profile doesn't change.
Abatrax is the only fighter that doesn't have a ranged attack at all. He only has 1 hammer 2 damage attack, which isn't the worst attack characteristics in the world, but it's not great, and he's on 1 dodge. When it inspires, it goes up to 2 dodge, but the attack stays on 2 hammers 2 damage, but it does gain cleave, so it's a little bit more useful against some of those more armoured opponents.
Flame Spuler, when he's not having a day off, just has a ranged attack of 3 swords or 1 damage. He does inspire to 2 dodge, and that range attack goes up to range 4, but it's still only 3 swords and 1 damage, so he's not terribly useful. But I guess the minions are all about getting them next to people and then pinging people.
I think this warband's going to really excel in getting lots of their minions up into the mix and then just causing lots of ping damage. Also, bringing a fighter back each round is really handy because even though they're vulnerable, they don't give any bounty, so your opponent really has to think about whether they want to waste an attack on taking them out, because you can't ping most of the time to kill people anymore. Most cards don't allow you to pick vulnerable fighters.
And then, of course, you're messing up some of the more strike-leading warbands because they're probably looking for a number of kills and they can't get them because you keep bringing fighters back.
Exactly. They're a mastery warband because they have all these shenanigans going on, but I think they'll do quite well with take and hold and a bit of flex. I don't think they've got the muscle in here really to be a strike warband, though.
I don't think so either.
But I think they're going to stand back, they're going to pepper people with lots of little shots, and then do lots of ping, and everyone's going to hate them.
Pepper people.
So hopefully you found that useful. Do let us know in the comments below what cards you're going to be using with Ephilim's Pandaemonium.
And if you want to see more of our warband reviews, don't forget to click that like button.
And click that subscribe button.
And ring that bell so you get notifications when the new video goes live.
So we'll see you soon, maybe in the Embergard.
Bye!